Okay, so in that case, what you want to do is you want to analyze your market position. You want to take stock of your niche and understand, are your competitors stocking out? Are they running out of stock? Are they running low on stock? Are you seeing signs that your competitors may be giving hints that they're running on stock, where competitors are, for example, increasing their price? Maybe they had those green coupon badges on their listing before, and maybe they're gone. Are they slipping in organic ranking? Are they reducing ad spend? So are you seeing previously, if you're using a tool to monitor competitors' ads, or if you're doing spot checks, or your team's doing it, are you seeing those impressions from your competition get reduced, decline because of potential stock out issues that they may have? Okay. Um, Also, in the previous scenario we're talking about, we want to see signs in your advertising, whether you're experiencing a drop in ad sales and conversion rate. Okay. If you've seen an increase in your ACOS percentage, in that case, you may want to look at your ACOS percentage and also calculate your ACOS over your total sales instead of just your PPC sales, and see if it makes sense to try to increase bids, because your sales have slowed down, right? So you want to try to increase your sales. Maybe your campaigns were running at break even. So what you want to do is, okay, if they were running at break even, where the ACOS percentage is break even, meaning for every unit you sell through PPC, you're not making any profit off of it. But if you were to average out the number of units you sell through PPC and average it with the numbers you're selling organically, how much of a profit margin do you have there when it's averaged out? And hence the consideration for the ACOTS, the ACOTS. See if you have ample buffer in your averaged out net margin to see if it makes sense to increase bids for your keywords. And you want to also focus on top of funnel targeting. You want to try to, so a lot of times with campaigns, if they've been tuned and optimized over time, then what may happen is that these very broad words, or very broad keywords that may only have one or two individual words inside of them, they're so broad that you may have tuned them out, optimized them out so that there's no longer any impressions being displayed for those keywords. So you may want to revisit those very broad keywords to see if you can attract attention from shoppers who may not be entirely relevant. So their demographic and their shopping intent may not be entirely relevant to your product. It may be vaguely relevant, but still you may want to explore capturing their eyeballs again. Okay. As far as, because of the fact that I have a seller account, I will also touch upon some supply chain considerations. So at the bottom, something you may want to consider is that if there's nothing you can really do with the very few steps of your supply chain, meaning if your supplier is down for the count, or they're having a very tough time getting everything up and running again, resuming normal operations, then if sales are slowing down in your account and it's getting to a point where your FBA stock levels are excessive, you may want to consider removing some of that, again, if it makes sense, and add to your buffer stock. And by buffer stock, what I mean is inventory or stock that is not an FBA, but is close enough. Basically, it's stored somewhere in the US where it's close enough where in case you want to restock, you can simply shoot out an email, call up your point of contact at the warehouse that you're renting space from, and ask them to do some 3PL prep work to move inventory back into out to an Amazon FBA fulfillment center. Okay. And finally, you want to definitely keep an eye on Amazon's policy changes, because that can come and go any second. All right, so the next slide, we're going to talk about market disruption. So let's assume in this scenario the supply side is good, but the demand side is bad. So supply side is good, meaning there are no supplier constraints, there are no logistics. There could be some FBA bottlenecks. That's going to be more or less, I would say at this point, more or less inevitable than not. Okay, so if that's the case, but the demand side is still bad, right? So sales have still decreased. Again, it's the same points you want to consider. Now, at this point in time, I also want to mention that there's a couple of factors going on here as well when it comes to drops in sales, a decrease overall in your Amazon advertising performance, whether it comes to a drop in conversion rate, a spike in your ACOS percentage. So a couple of things that might be going on is, one is that the shoppers actually may be interested in your product, but they're distracted. Okay, so they're going to they may click on your ad, but then because of more people than not spending more time at home now, right? And kids being out of school, it's just inevitable that there's going to be more distraction. So shoppers may click on an ad, but even with the 7-day or the 14-day attribution, sales attribution to when they click on the ad, they may click on it and just walk away, and it's only a week or two later that they realize, oh man, I was interested in buying this product because I was shopping around for it, but I walk away from it. Sometimes they don't even remember the product anymore. So Amazon does have a wish list that customers could add a product to in case they're interested in the future. I myself, as an Amazon shopper, I'm trying to do a better job of, if I think of something and it crosses all my T's and dots all my I's as a product I really want to get, I will deliberately, first thing I do, add it to my wish list. So it's a way for me to queue that up so that I don't forget. It's almost like a task list for me without having to open up, like something on my like an app on my smartphone and write down, hey, you need to buy this book, or hey, you need to buy, I don't know, like a filter bag for your vacuum cleaner or something like that. So instead of doing that, I just simply, if I find a product, I'll add it to my wish list. Not many customers know that. So a lot of times they will be shopping around. They are interested in it. And then when they run out of stock of whatever product they're interested in, let's say it's dishwasher pods or something like that, the moment they run out, they're going to go, oh, dang it. I knew I was running low. I wanted to order it. I know that Prime shipping is more delayed, and now I'm just going to be out of stock with this dishwasher pod, and I'm going to get frustrated because if I try to order it now, it's not going to get to me in 2 days, or Prime Now, it's going to get to me in 4 to 5 days or 7 to 10 days. It happened with us, and it wasn't the biggest deal with us, but again, I can imagine other families where just there's just an increase in distractions, and a lot of distractions are justified. The kids are just kids, their attention is just changing every 5 minutes. So you have to manage them and turn something on and turn it off, or bring out the crayons and the paper for them to draw on there, and then they lose interest in 5 minutes. So distraction could definitely play a factor in your ad performance suffering. Now, another thing I want to talk about that is very unique to the position that we are in right now is that if you've noticed on social media, this is something I've noticed, but you guys may have noticed it as well, where people are taking items at home. Okay, let me take a step back. So, we're pretty much more or less spending most of our time at home because for a lot of us are ordered by our local jurisdiction that we can't go to restaurants anymore. They're ordered by the restaurants to shut down, ordered by bars to shut down, cannot do casual shopping, so on and so forth. Now, depending on where you are going to be more restricted at home. then, well, for pretty much for the vast majority of us, we are spending more time at home due to what's going on out there, right? So because of the fact that we are spending more time at home as well as the kids, your usual habits are such that their habits and hobbies, even I'm going to throw in hobbies as well, where they take up a certain amount of time, right? You had a routine before. You're going to work 5 days a week. You come home, right? You're prepping dinner somehow. You're spending time with your kids with homework, and then you're trying to put them to bed. Maybe there's a little disciplines pattern in there, right? And then by the end of all that, you've had 5 minutes to yourself and you pass out, right? And then you wake up the next day, and that was your routine. And then your routine for the weekends was that's where you take your kids out to their activities, or you yourself had hobbies and so on and so forth. Well, those habits and hobbies were the ones you set up for yourself, given that you had maybe 20 hours in the week to utilize those, 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week. Now we don't just have 20 hours a week of time. Now we have, I don't know, like 40, 80, 100 hours a week where we're just spending that much more time at home. So all the time that we used to spend in the office, right, 40, 50 hours a week, that's being spent at home. Okay. Your kids were in school for, 30 hours a week, maybe 40 hours a week. Well, they're spending all that time at home. And yes, there's lessons being taught. But my point is, and I'm already seeing signs of this with my social media circle. My point is, more people than not are going to reach a point where they're going to get bored. Okay. They're going to try to be, and they're going to need to become creative. They're going to need to think outside of the box to occupy themselves. Okay. So what I've been seeing lately is a huge increase in posts where people are being creative in ways to occupy themselves. So this might be a time for you to consider that with your product, especially if demand is slow. Is there potential to somehow repurpose your product? Is there a potential to repackage it, to market it in a different way? If the primary purpose that your product was previously marketed as has now been annihilated, it's been drastically reduced because you see it in your sales. Is there a way to repurpose it now? Okay. Are there new demographics for you to consider thinking outside the box to target? Is there a new target audience? Okay. Not a product idea, but a couple of posts that I've seen from friends that I think are really ingenious is that I'm starting to see kids where they're taking skateboards or even hoverboards, for those who can afford hoverboards, where the kids at home, what they're doing is they're taking corrugated cardboard, we all have a lot of Amazon boxes at home, and they're cutting up the corrugated cardboard and basically pasting it or taping it, not pasting, but attaching it to their skateboards and hoverboards, and they're playing with them. They make a boat, they make a car, and they're role playing with them. And this is something that is not new. We've seen Nintendo do it with their Nintendo Switch. Nintendo has these add-ons called Labo, which I think is about $40, which you can take the Nintendo Switch, the gaming console, and you can attach these cardboard cutouts of like a fishing pole or of a guitar, and use the cardboard cutout with the Nintendo Switch embedded in the cardboard cutout as a guitar as you're playing a game. So I almost feel like Nintendo's a little bit ahead of the curve there. I feel that those kind of ideas are just going to blow up. Okay. So I wouldn't specifically recommend a product idea being one where you go to your usual domestic cardboard box supplier and tell them to make cutouts out of it. I mean, if you find an opportunity, great, but my point is that's just a specific example. And my point is that there could be so many other different ideas out there that are completely untapped. Times like these, human intuition and creativity is unlimited. So tap into that and see what you can come up with.